and good morning. You're flying the very unfriendly skies with Tironan, where half the population wants you dead in the worst possible way. Alrighty. This is the FJ1 Fury, and it is now fully upgraded and fully modded. Okay, Jeff, what's that mean? Well, the Fury kind of struggles under two problems. One of them is it's kind of slow. And that you can address somewhat with the polished covering, which gives you 3% to your top speed. And then you get the engine upgrades, which we've just purchased the last of them, and brings you up just to right at 560 miles an hour, which makes you a little more competitive in the speed category. Now, mind you, there are aircraft out there that are pushing 700 at full upgrade. The other aircraft, which you've probably seen way too much of from me, is this one. And fully upgraded, you're looking at 596, and I don't believe that's the fastest one out there. I believe you will find that if you go to Germany and this puppy, he starts off at where the Fury begins at. And he's pushing right at 609. That's without the ordnance. Now, I will remind you that these fellows, that the robots almost always carry ordnance. And that slows him down somewhat. 22 miles an hour, so that very impressive speed drops down, and you're starting to get in the range where you can compete with them. And he can't turn. The strengths of the Fury are the high altitude. At 8,500 feet, this thing is just not even at the red line yet, which means you can run it up to 10,000, 11,000, 12,000 feet, and you're still okay. Your hit points are okay, and your maneuverability is 10 seconds, which isn't bad at all. Not this tier. The bane and the blessing is your machine guns. And they will give you 480, which is sufficient, but your range is not quite 2,000 feet, which is not very good. And I say sufficient, I mean just barely sufficient at this tier. You really would like to see it at 600 to 800 at this tier. It is what it is. And this is also a reflection of the history of the aircraft, because this is the Navy's it actually first appeared in 1948. It was a direct predecessor to the Sabre. You'll notice just how much it looks like a P-51. The wings are lifted straight off a P-51. The back end is very similar to a P-51. And, of course, the fuselage and everything else is different. But that gives you an idea. There were only 30 of these built because it was a transitional aircraft. The next aircraft that came out were the 2 and the 3, much faster aircraft. And late versions of the 3 started to see a 20 millimeter show up. And the FJ4, which was the successor, and I say a successor because these were totally different aircraft. The 2-3 was fairly close. The 4 was an entirely different beast. So there are only 30 of these done. They didn't even pass, really, they passed carrier trials, but just barely. And so the Navy was very reluctant to use these on aircraft carrier, which is just fine. They really used it as a training aircraft for their pilots to transition onto other aircraft. And so it's been all 30 of them spent their entire career at a naval air station, which is fine. Uh, and it makes a kind of curious choice because personally, if I was to go up this line, I would have gone to the FJ23 at this level at Tier 9 and then gone to an FJ4 at Tier 10. Be a much more competitive aircraft. It's not my game. I didn't design it, but that would be my suggestion to World of Warplanes. Um, if you could imagine if you had four M3s or four M12s on this, that this would be a much more competitive aircraft as well. All right, I have not flown this with the upgrade, so we're going to take it to battle and see where we get. Good, bad, or ugly. I'm anxious to see if that additional 19 miles an hour is going to really make a difference or not. And I find it kind of interesting that this whole line has been crippled with 50, American lines have been crippled with the 50 calibers. Even in the Sabre F, some of them were switched over to 20 millimeter. The Sabre H all came with Colt Mark 12 20 millimeter cannon. The Air Force used the M39, and you would find that on the F-86 Fs and Hs. But whatever else can be said about this tubby little fighter, it is pretty. And it was an entry to the Navy to get jet aircraft into the fleet. All right. Let's roll. Well, I want the command center, so they can do what they want to do, but I'm going after to help the guys take the command center. And for whatever reason, they seem to want to climb, which is fine with me. And I have a Spitfire on my tail, and I'm fine with that. Because no matter how good the Spitfire is, it's not a 512 mile an hour aircraft. Which allows me to boom and zoom in the opposite direction, booming upwards. Alright, 3 aircraft up, 3 aircraft down. A lot more damage than I would like to have taken, but there we go. Alright, let's get over there and help with the airbase. I still see they're contesting it. And there's a MiG-9, Leonid, one of the bots. Let's see if we can convince our Russian friends that he needs to be somewhere else. He needs to go home for a while. Alright, that's done. We are still kind of tore up here. Need to get probably at 40% health. Need to get myself healed up. And I'm back in shape, and we're going to have to take after bombers. I don't see anybody after them. It may not be the fastest fighter, but compared to a bomber, it is plenty quick. And we're going to need to get within 2,000 feet to use these machine guns. And you get reminded constantly just how not good having a short range armament is. Oh, that hurt. I'm sure he didn't mean it. What do you think? Okay, but we did get to keep our command center, which, well, no, we won't either. And I'm thinking it was a bad tactical choice to get healed up just to get blasted out of the sky and let them take it. Live and learn, gentlemen. Live and learn. And these guys will be wanting to take our air base. Now you'll notice I have flaps on throughout the engagement. There's a reason for that. I'm not insane. And that reason is it's too easy to overfly aircraft even without the speed modifications, and now I'm faster. And I don't want to go to max turn and not have my full range. I've hit this guy, I don't know how much long, and he's not really taking much damage. Tail should have fallen off by now. Hit with a gunnery Nerf bat or something. Geesh. Alright, I got a big 9 up there now, and I need to worry about him. Alright. As I said, this guy's got a fairly big speed advantage on us, even at full upgrade. hoping. Yeah, he's going to try to turn. Okay. It's a more competitive aircraft. As you've seen, the lack of gun power is fairly crippling. That's not going to change. And by the way, you'll carry it on into the F-86A, which is not all that one could hope for, but there we go. But it's quick enough now to be more competitive. Provided you hang on somebody's tail long enough, you'll kill them. You can outmaneuver most things in the sky, so it definitely has its role, and it can play at high altitude, which gives it a certain ability. We killed 7 aircraft, captured 1 sector. It's a good aircraft. It just needs gun power. I keep begging them, World of Warplanes, just put 4 M39s on it. It'll be a great aircraft. Everybody will absolutely love it. Don't hold your breath. My. But it works better than it did. And there's a lot of aircraft out there that can simply not get away from you. That MiG-9 was just toast. Not sure what was going on with the Spitfires that I had so much trouble killing. It makes no sense at all, but such is life in the big city. All right. That's going to wrap up today. This has been the FJ1 fully upgraded, fully modded. Please remember to like the video, and by all means, please, I need all the subscribers I can get. Thank you. Gentlemen, I do appreciate you spending time with me today, and we'll see you tomorrow.